stream is working correctly. Okay, looks like that stream is functioning correctly. Yeah, it's a little bit lag on my end. All right, so let's get back to it though. So basically, like I said, we have these different artists in here that were added in seemingly manually. So first thing we want to do, right, is find an API that we can possibly use to add a lot more artists in at the same time. We don't want to waste time going individually. It would be a lot nicer to have them all be added in at once. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to ChatGPT and I'm going to ask, do you know of an API that we can use to add hip hop information to our website? And let's see what it says. That we can use to add information to our website. I said website, intended to say API. You definitely want to specify API in this situation because an API is pretty much a storage base that we can reference from our website. Instead of having all the information hosted locally, we can set up an API and our app will pull all of our information in real time and consistently update from whatever website that we use or whatever API that we use. All right, so you can see it has a Spotify web API we can use, Music Brains API, Last.fm, Genius. All right, so it's giving us a range of opportunities to add that information in that we're looking for, but definitely want to see which one makes the most sense. You might be wondering why I'm not using Replit and asking Replit for that information, but every time you reference Replit or make any calls on Replit, it was technically called a call, which would basically be anytime you use Replit for any specifics, any specific changes or anything like that. Sorry about that. Looks like Replit actually got closed. I'm just looking to pull that back up. All right. So let me get back into that app. All right. So yeah, like I was saying, anytime you use Replit for any specific questions or changes or anything like that, that actually costs money every single time you use it. So you don't want to necessarily reference Replit if you don't have to. Also, ChatGPT is more information focused, while Replit is more software development focused. So you can consider this as your assistant and this as your software engineer. So you don't want to ask your software engineer questions that you should ask your assistant. All right, so we could use Spotify. Newer and developed apps use certain catalog endpoint. Okay, so it looks like they changed the rules of Spotify recently to take away some information from new apps. So let's check out another option. We have Music Brains API, and this offers open content metadata for 2.6 million artists. Okay. This seems interesting. All right, so it has genre tags, release dates, country recordings. Okay, country and recordings. Okay. None for read access, rate limit. So this is rate limited, right? Rate limited means that we don't have endless data that we can use on this one, right? So we only have a certain amount of data that we can get. And that might not be the best because we want to make sure that we have a lot of information coming in or as much information as possible. So Discord or Discogs. All right, so database objects with genre, style, filters. Okay, I'm going to ask, what is the best API to use for a hip hop app? Hip hop app, okay. Let me see what they give us back. Still loading now. All right, so Yeah, instead of going through and just deciding on my own, why not just let ChatGPT evaluate everything for us, right? And I'm using ChatGPT o4 mini high because this is just the best for actually gathering data from the internet. So it's constantly referencing the internet. It's not just checking its local storage for information. So it should be a little bit more accurate. All right. So for most hip hop apps where you need artist, album, track, metadata, Spotify web API is your best solution. Okay. So this is still kind of throwing me off. Genius is for lyrics specifically. Music Brain for cover art. Okay. And Last FM for user generated information. So this might be interesting to use, but let's try Spotify. All right. Okay. I'm going to let Replit know that we need to add in more information and more artists. And I'm going to tell it to use an API to gather that information. Okay. All right. So I said we need to add in more information and artists. Use an API to gather that information. Reference Spotify API. So I'm letting it know what information we need that's missing, and I'm just letting it know how it should gather that information. It might have referenced an API or recommended one, but I saw it mention Genius before, so I just want to make sure a little bit more specific. All right. Let me step away for 1 second. I'll be right back with you guys. All right, sorry about that. I had to grab a drink really quick. All right, so it is recommending the Spotify API for us, and we can check that out by going to Spotify, developer.spotify.com/dashboard, and it also gives us a cool link that we can use to just log in there. So I want to make sure that this doesn't require a Spotify account or a paid Spotify account because I actually don't use Spotify. So just want to verify that. Can make an account and if we need to, but just want to double check. All right, so these credentials will let us. All right, so it looks like it should be good to go. Try and log in, and I need to log in with my email and password. Looks like get that in really quick from my previous account. Okay. Yeah, once we get that Spotify logged in, it should give us a whole lot more information that we're missing right now. And honestly, I'm still thinking about the actual style that we should be using. Oh, okay, let me grab my phone really quick to log in. All right, got my phones. Hello, check. Okay. Still good to go. All right, so right now I'm just logging into Spotify really quick and gathering that information so we can use that API. I feel like every app has so much security nowadays. Okay. So I am logged into Spotify now. Let me get to that page. Okay. So once I logged into Spotify, I was met with this screen here. So we basically just need to create a app reference for Spotify to understand why we need the API key. So for reference here, I will just say hip hop app description, and app for hip hop. Okay. Website URL. So for this, we're gonna just add in that URL from the app that we have generated with Replit. Let me get this information out of here. Okay. So we can just click right here. That opens up our app in full screen. And we can just go ahead and copy that URL and paste that into Spotify. Okay. So what API are you planning to use? So we can get web playback. All right, so we definitely need the web API. Web playback will be nice. Ads API, don't need that, and iOS. So these two are referencing if we want to add an app for a iPhone or an Android phone, but we don't need to worry about that. We are just using this for a web platform and we can access that on any device. So just adding that basic information in, saving that. All right, so now it's going to give me some information like my client ID and client secret. So get to that page. Okay. So your client ID and your client secret are basically your username and password that you're using for the API. So when you add both of those into your application, it'll be able to access that data from Spotify. Basically, the application is logging in to my Spotify account and Spotify is approving it and giving it the information that we need to add the details to the website. So looks like that implementation is working. You can see it says perfect. Now I'm implementing Spotify API. So that's the beauty of Replit. It really does give you a lot of specific detail every single step of the way. So if you're new to using Replit and you're not familiar with how anything works in the tech field, as far as software engineering, it's no big deal. It can give you a lot of information, but you don't necessarily need to worry about all the information. You just need to let it know exactly what you want done and it'll help you out with that. But if you are advanced in technology, it'll give you a lot of help so that you can make different changes and different things that you may want to add in yourself. Also, even though the app is being generated with AI, you can always go over here and look at the actual files, right? Because this is a real program. It's not just an AI front that they're handling. You can actually download these files and have the entire app yourself. So basically you can just click down here and it'll let you download the entire app and you can run that anywhere. You don't need Replit to run the app. It's just hosting the app for us while we test it and create it. But yeah, you can easily at any point in time, because Replit does have a monthly fee of $25 and it also can charge you a little bit more if you go over a certain limit of use. But if you built an app and you're worried about not wanting to pay your subscription anymore, they're not going to hold onto your app for you. They're not going to stop you from pulling it out. All you got to do is click right here and you can download any of your projects at any point in time. So no real reason not to use it. Honestly, it gives you free access when you originally start. It gives you a good amount of credits, more than you'll probably need just to build your first app. So if you ever want to check out creating an app or just curious about that process, I would definitely recommend go to replit.com. Just get started for free, create your project and download it. So if you don't want to keep using Replit, if you do want to keep using Replit, cool. But if not, you can always download that and just work on the app yourself if you wanted to, or you can use a different platform to edit and code with AI. So it looks like here it's still updating the library page to include a prominent link. Okay. Updating the artist data with real information. So that's the beauty of it. It's able to comb through Spotify using this program. We don't have to go on Spotify and pull anything ourselves. It'll just pull all that information for us. So hopefully it'll be able to get the pictures for us and get all the specific information for the artist. But yeah, I also think it would be nice to have chart data, like on billboard.com. So for instance, when we go to billboard.com, or actually, let me type in Billboard Gold and Platinum. And let's type in Kendrick Lamar. Okay. So Gold and Platinum RAA. This is a website I've gone to a lot. Personally, I'm always curious about numbers, so I like to check out the data of these artists. And this webpage is cool because it shows you all of the certified gold and platinum plaques that these artists have, right? So we can see Kendrick has a lot of platinum records, right? He has this song with Baby Keem. He has a song with Mac Miller, song with Beyonce, Isaiah Rashad. But yeah, he has a ton of gold and platinum certifications, right? And a lot of times in the hip hop community specifically, people will argue their favorite artist, their favorite rapper. It's kind of like wrestling. But when people argue, one of the factors is quality of the music, but another factor is, data, numbers. How successful were they at their goals? And this will allow you to see how much platinum certifications they have and things like that. So people can argue more about it and have more fun with it. But yeah, I think that information would be great to add in. But let's see what we got here. Okay. Successfully integrated Spotify API. So looks like it was able to get that information added in for us. Let's check out what the results are of that. So I see Earl Sweatshirt, Little Baby, Chief Keef. The pictures they go with for these people is hilarious. I'm pretty sure that's Drake, or it looks kind of like Drake, and that's funny. All right, so browse Spotify artists, and you can see right here it has hip hop up here, right? So I don't want that. I only want this to be a hip hop site. So let me see what happens when I type in country. So when you type in country, it gives you different country artists. And these artists seem to be correctly showing their pictures. So that's a good and bad thing. On one end, this is a hip hop website, so I want it to be all hip hop. On the other end, it's great to know that they have their correct pictures in here so we can add that to the homepage. So first thing I want to do is update the homepage pictures, right? Those are some previous thumbnails I was working on. All right, so first thing we want to do is update this homepage picture, and I'm gonna just copy that image, paste that here, error, update the home. Let me see exactly which page this is, the / library page. Okay. Update the / library page to show the correct artist pictures. All right, so first thing I want to do is update the pictures, right? And I see the design. Honestly, this design is nowhere near the quality that we're looking to have for the website, but we want to focus on the basics originally, and then from there we can add more information in. And yeah, so basically just want to make sure that this website is only pulling up hip hop artists. It doesn't need to pull up all of the artists. I want it to be more of a boutique style website. That's the goal of this one. It's not meant to be necessarily a website that everybody would want to go to. It's just a website for people who specifically like this style of music. Because at the end of the day, you may think, hey, why wouldn't you make a website that everyone can go to for any style of music? But at the end of the day, we have a lot of options if you want to just go to a website that has a lot of different music on it. If you just want to see a website that has all music, you can go to YouTube, you can go to Spotify, you can go to Apple, you can go to a ton of different hip hop, or not hip hop, but music websites, right? Billboard.com. This is going to have music for everybody, but it's also not going to fit anybody individually. So our goal is to focus on a niche. That's why majority of these apps are more specific. We don't necessarily want people to evaluate why they're not just using the more popular, different version. We want our website to cater more specifically. Spotify might have every artist on it, but this website has integrations that Spotify doesn't. It has a better design focused on hip hop. It has more specific information focused on hip hop, has more of the backstory, and it's more of a emotionally attached website versus another website that may be more focused on just giving you general information. This is supposed to be a website that you use for luxury. It's similar to H&M versus Louis Vuitton or Prada. H&M has clothes that everybody can wear. They sell you a white t-shirt with black stripes, and they sell you a black t-shirt with white stripes, right? Louis Vuitton has shirts that only a certain specific group of people may want to even wear in the first place, but they cater specifically to those people, and they have been doing it for decades and decades and decades. And they also have mastered that specific niche, and they've mastered the branding in that niche so that people are actually interested in going to Louis Vuitton specifically. And a lot of people that shop at H&M may shop at Louis Vuitton also, but people who love Louis Vuitton may never go to H&M, even though H&M may have clothes they want, but they just like the brand. They like the style. Similar to Steve Jobs when he came to Apple and made the iPhone. Currently today, the Android phone has a lot more functionality than the iPhone. The Android phone actually, about 3 years before the iPhone, added in picture-in-picture where you could watch a video and press a button, and that screen would show in the corner, and you could continue using your phone while the video played in the corner of your phone. Apple added that in years later, and everyone was extremely excited about that. Apple also has headphones that they charge about 3 to 5 times more than the average headphone would cost of that quality, but people still prefer the Apple headphones. They prefer the Apple website. They prefer Apple because they just like Apple. So that's really the key when you're selling a product. You want people to like you, and you as in a company, because a company can be considered as an individual. You know, people should see your company as a friend, and that's one of the secrets that they've used to market. Okay, so let me see. Updated 12 artists pictures. Okay, so it says it updated those pictures for us, but I'm not seeing those updates. So what we want to do is try that in a private browser just to double check that. Let me see here. All right, so going to pull this up, copy that URL again, and paste that in this private browser just to verify that. While we are verifying that, let's check out what happens when we click these people. Okay. So no videos found. That's interesting. Kendrick Lamar Duckworth, American rapper and songwriter known for his progressive musical style and socially conscious songwriting. Okay, this is interesting. This seems like it is pulled from Spotify. So it looks like the API is working correctly. A lot of times when Replit adds in manual information, and you can tell it was manually added because this picture doesn't look exactly like Kendrick. But when Replit adds in manual information, sometimes that can overlap the API. So you always want to double check and make sure that it didn't make any mistakes there. So you can see it has what he's known for here, his top tracks. And on the bottom, it has fun facts here, but it also has his Spotify followers and his popularity. So it's a lot of decent detail here. Really, really nice. Let's see what the fun facts go to. Okay, hip hop originated in the Bronx, New York. Okay, interesting. So these are some fun facts, hip hop related. Okay, so now what I want to do is search Kendrick Lamar. Okay, so let me see here. Browse Spotify artists, right? So at the bottom, it asks us to browse Spotify artists. That's interesting because aren't these the Spotify artists as well? So I'm assuming that it's going to take us to an entirely different page. And I want to verify that by typing in Kendrick Lamar, right? And this actually takes us to Spotify. So it doesn't even stay on the page at all anymore. It goes directly to Spotify. So that's something interesting to note. And that also means that this information is not updating in real time. It's all static. And we don't necessarily want the web page to go to Spotify every time we click an artist. Like when we go to Lil Wayne, it shouldn't go to Lil Wayne's page. It should go to our page that we edited there. So that's something else that we can work with the AI on and make sure that gets updated correctly. These images still need to get populated again. And yeah, so first thing I'm going to do, got to still double check on that. All right, so looks like the images actually, yeah, they still did not get updated. Okay, so what I'm going to do is note the images did not update on the library page. Use the Spotify API to pull real pictures, real images of the artist. All right, so again, we don't need to worry about going through and manually doing any changes or anything like that as far as gathering these correct pictures. We already know the app is pulling in the pictures that we need, right? But we just want to get those pictures correctly in the right place. And once we get the pictures in the right place, we can actually start redesigning this app, making it look a lot better, and then worry a little bit more about the functionality as well. All right, modify the artist data to use Spotify data, update the artist card components to fetch real Spotify images dynamically. Let me first check how Spotify integration works. All right, cool. So it's checking out how Spotify is actually functioning by itself. And looks like it added in those pictures for us already. All right, nice. So those pictures were updated. Cool. See, we got some decent popular artists in here. Definitely want to update the design choice though, right? This design just is not looking nice, in my opinion. So what we want to do probably is just let it know we need the design to look a lot more hand-drawn and Japanese aesthetic. So I'm just going to use those two specific words and say update the design choice. Also luxury, high quality, just keywords. It's really all about using the right keywords to let the AI move the way that you would like it to move. So let's see where this is at. Okay. Change the images, just basically letting us know that it was able to make those changes we were asking for. Changes are working as evident by the console logs. Okay, cool. So, yep, those pictures are looking correct. And now let's get that aesthetic updated. Update the aesthetic of the website. Make it look hand-drawn. Japanese art. style. And I will say high quality. Okay. And attached a reference for the art style. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull up a Japanese classic art. All right, cool. So I like this, and we can use this. All right. So all I'm gonna do is copy that image, right? Close that up, get back in here, paste that image in, attached a reference for the art style. All right, cool. So just let it know the website art style is not looking up to par. Added in some basic details, hand-drawn Japanese art style. That's pretty much what we were going for originally, right? And when you check out the mock-up image, this is a lot more detailed and hand-drawn looking. And also just overall, even everything from the font looks a lot better. The overall design choice is just better. I can see that it pulled in the squares like we asked for, these different squares with the different artists in them. And it has these different portions in. So it was able to do a lot that we were looking to do, but we just need a little bit higher quality. Step away for a second. I will be right back. All right, back at it. Sorry about that. Looks like the app is still processing. Let me update the splash page to the correct existing content. Okay. Let me make sure this mic is working correctly. Hello, check. I think I might be having some mic problems, some audio issues. Hello, check. Okay, nice. All right, so got that audio back. All right, so looks like it did make some changes. Make sure I got the correct playback. Okay. Check. Okay. Got that fixed. All right, so it looks like it changed the color coding to be more blue and white, which is cool. That works for sure. But you can also notice right here, it says the app crash, right? Like, so, in those situations, a lot of time Replit will be able to analyze the fact that there was a crash and it'll be able to update in real time and get that fixed for you. But if not, always, like everything else, we just want to catch a screenshot and let it know the app crashed. That's the beauty of Replit. We never need to actually write any lines of code or do anything technical necessarily. It's all just really about understanding what you're going for and understanding the quote unquote vibe. That's why they call it vibe coding. But yeah, day 8 of the 30-day 30 app challenge. Honestly, feel like I was pretty crazy for having my first day of streaming be the first day of a 30-day challenge, but It's been working fine so far. Been having a lot of fun, learning a lot along the way. Hopefully I've been giving some good information out there. And yeah, so this looks a lot better. I like this a lot more, a lot more. But I still feel like the font can just be more powerful. It can overall look better, but it looks okay so far. It looks okay so far. So what we want to do is have this front page look a lot more interesting, right? So I'm thinking, what can we do for this page to add more value? What can we add to this page to have it be more valuable? Okay, let me check out Spotify again. Spotify.com. Okay. So this is what the homepage looks like for Spotify. Should we replicate Spotify to a certain extent? I don't think so. I don't really like this design choice. This is not really meant for style. This is more functionality, right? Our website is more focused on style. I can't really necessarily recall a high quality hip hop website, but let's go check out a high fashion website, because I would assume a high fashion website would have a great design choice. No, I'm not really liking this design choice either. Let me think. Samurai website. Way of the Samurai. No, this is not what we're looking for either. I don't know. I guess this is okay for now. We can change things a little bit more later if we would like. But right now, want to add a dark mode. It's a pretty simple change, but yeah, it's definitely a little bit too bright for my taste. So we want to add a dark mode in here. We can go ahead and, I would like to change the font, but after this dark mode gets added, I feel like the website design is decent enough for now. This is also a site that'll be mainly used on your phone. So no reason to really dwell on that part. See, these don't move the same as the other ones do. Could definitely add more in there. We can also add the actual music, but this website is intended to be more of a historical reference site. It should just give you more of a informative tool on the past and present of hip hop. I feel like that'll be a lot of value. There's already websites you can go to listen to music, so we want our website to be different. And also, a lot of people don't really think about this part, but when you're designing a website and you're creating an audience for that website, you also should be thinking about what audience is not necessarily being catered to. And I can't really recall, there's no reference website to have to compare, because there's no real classic hip hop website, right? There's no website where you can look at the past of hip hop. And if you go on YouTube, you'll notice a lot of the hip hop recollection stories or hip hop history in general, they have a lot of views, millions of views, because people are interested in this subject matter, but it's just very, very extremely difficult to gather that information. So if we had a place to have that information all in one area, I feel as though that'll be pretty valuable. Okay. Looks a little bit better. And we also need to remember that this is a website that will be majority used on the phone, right? Most people are not using this website on their computer. They're probably going to use their phone for this. So what I'm going to do is check out what the app will look like on phone. Looks like it's still updating. Okay. So when we want to see what the app looks like on a phone, all we need to do is go back to that main Replit app page and click this area right here. And this gives us a QR code that we can scan to verify what it'll look like on the phone. So what I'm going to do is scan that with my phone and check it out. Okay. So look right here. On the phone, it looks pretty good, right? Pretty decent. Everything is all organized. See these images. Oh, that image even updated when I refreshed the page. That's interesting. All right. So the reason why the other images showed originally is because they were those are placeholder images. So until it updates from Spotify, it won't actually update. But I like how this looks so far. You can see it also has, you know, the popular songs on there and everything like that. So now is the portion where we really need to just think about what we're going for. So before that though, the font is way too dark on here. Can't see the black writing on the dark mode. So I will say the font is too dark to read on dark mode. All right, so just letting it know the font needs to be updated for dark mode. And while that is loading, we can just think about what are the different things that we want to add into this website. It's complicated. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really think about it, but it's difficult to know what to add to a hip hop site besides just music, right? It's definitely not going to be a gossip site or anything like that, but I do want historical information. And I feel as though having different eras of hip hop that you can check out will be interesting, and different genres of hip hop that you can check out will be very interesting. Maybe a gallery per era would be nice to have. Also just different, not different facts necessarily about the different timelines, but maybe links to videos or things of that nature that you can check out for these different eras of hip hop would be cool. Just different things that'll bring people to the website, draw them in. So I can see this, they're not updating this. So what I'm gonna do is highlight this right here, or actually, I'm pretty sure we can just manually click this, right? Yep. Since it is a H2, we can manually click that. And if you ever have any portion of your page that you want to change manually, a lot of times it won't necessarily work, but depending on how the website is designed, which you can just always check and find out, just click this select tool down here. And then you want to just click a portion of the site, right? So this right here does allow us to change that coloring. So what I can do is I can click this, see if that color shows up. Nope, didn't show up there. Let me see if we can find an area where that blue will pull up for us. We need it's called the href code, or the hex, excuse me, it's the hex code for this color. Each color has a different hex code on it. And yeah, it looks like it's not showing that for us. So let's change this to white then, just to keep it simple. It's just not readable with the other coloring. Actually, let me see if I can work out more of an accurate color for that. It's not letting us click. Okay. All right, now it is. Okay. And a little bit darker. Boom. Perfect. All right, so that looks good. We can just click save changes and that'll update there. Boom. This looks relatively nice. Relatively nice. And then we got the dark mode, right? And that stays for both. Still looks nice though, so that's perfectly fine. Now what we want to do is I want more people on this page, but I don't necessarily need this page to be in this style. So what I'm going to say is change the library page to allow users to search by era of hip hop to find facts and historical information of the era. All right, cool. So yeah, basically just asking it to update to add some cool information from each era of hip hop, right? Because at the bottom, we still have the browse Spotify artists portion, and it'll just show us all the different Spotify artists and everything like that. So this portion is still fully functional. Definitely want to change this font from black to blue like beforehand, but that's such a small thing. We can change that later. It may automatically change while we're going through different web design process. But yeah, this page definitely looks very, in my opinion, I'm not even gonna lie, this page is not up to my expectations. It just looks very low quality. Maybe let's check out Apple Music. Speaking of Apple design choice, see, this design choice is very nice, a lot better than Spotify. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this design style. Yep, so I'm just gonna ask for it to change the format of the page to match that. Interesting. Also notice the dark mode button isn't showing up on every page. Okay. Good to know. Okay. Processing that. Change. So depending on how much changes are required per your request, it will impact how long it takes. All right, cool. Also, we got a usage alert. No big deal. Can get that updated. So what I'm gonna do is, okay, so basically it's just letting me know that we maxed out on the budget. Not really a big deal, but just showing up here because we're making so many apps, right? Let me change this. Okay. Let me change this to 100 really quick, okay? And then just know that 50. All right, cool. So basically it just gives you a number to let you just be aware. At $50, it'll pretty much just tell me that I'm at $50, and at $100, it'll request me to verify that I want to keep going. And just set a new limit on there. But it's dirt cheap though. Honestly, you got to think about it. We made 8 apps so far and we're only at like $65. So it's pretty cheap relatively. All right, cool. So perfect. Now let me take the screenshot, show the transformed library page. Okay. So that is processing. All right. So adds these different areas of hip hop on here, and see, this is just such an ugly page though. Like, so now we're going to update the page design. Update the design quality to match the image. Not exactly, but it should look like a luxury website. All right, so basically just letting it know we want this to look like a luxury website. The quality is so low now. It's just, no. You can have a website with the greatest information on it, but if the quality is low, then it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. Okay, I see it changed the color. Okay, like I said, the font, that's why I assumed the font color would probably get updated over time, so I didn't really worry about it. And it's still updating in real time, okay? And do gotta also remember this is an app that'll be mainly used on the phone, so just gotta keep verifying how that looks in its most used form. So we can actually see on the phone, it's updating in real time. It's very small to see. Let me see. All right, cool. Yeah, so you can see on the phone, it's actually updating in real time as well, just like on the desktop. Looks better. Transform the design to match the luxury aesthetic of Apple Music. Okay. Now update the error card component to use the new luxury design aesthetic. Okay. So it's just getting everything updated in that same design choice. And we still have dark mode in here, but like the font is like, update the font color to match. Wow. I mean, I really like how these words stand out now in dark mode, but these words aren't even readable in light mode though. So definitely going to need more updates. Like this, the white font isn't readable in normal, and the black font isn't readable in dark mode. So, or actually the white font turns black. Excuse me. Basically, the design just isn't looking like we need it to look so far. And that's the next thing I'm gonna let it know. The design, it looks better though. It's looking better so far. But it can be a lot more quality though. And I'm still trying to just think, what do we want to add to this app necessarily? And that's the thing, like during this 30-day challenge, right? Some of these apps, we may find that this isn't an app necessarily that we would want to go in this direction, really. And that's the beauty of doing the apps in one day. When you're doing these apps in one day, you don't necessarily have to worry about a situation where you've spent months preparing and going through the process of designing, and then you find out the app isn't necessarily what you were looking for. You know, we can just test things out and find out along the way. This is a beta fit or alpha, really, pretty much. Proof of concept, really. Like, it's just, we just want to find enough information to understand what we don't understand, you know. So far, I'm not gonna lie, the movie app, the anime app, both of those went very well. The video game app, honestly, every app so far has been really well. The Kai app, we didn't necessarily get to add as much as we wanted to, but that went decent overall, I would say. But yeah, this one, well, we'll get this one right. We'll get this one right. I love a challenge. So perfect, the complete transform. Okay, so I will just let it know. And basically what I'm going to do is catch 2 screenshots, one of light mode and one of dark mode. And let the app know, error, the font color is not readable in light mode or dark mode, respectively. Update the font color to a readable color for both modes. All right. So basically just letting it know the font isn't working correctly, and it should be able to update that for us. So I'm still trying to think what we can add in here. This may just be an app that takes a lot of creativity in the design choice. Some of them apps, like a movie app, I mean, it's pretty obvious how to make a good movie app, right? You just add movie information and make it look nice. But this may not be as straightforward as I thought. Maybe we can add it. I feel like some aesthetics, some moving visuals would do a lot. Maybe a trailer playing in the background. Just not feeling inspired by this one so far. Doesn't necessarily look bad. It looks pretty good, actually, but doesn't seem like it's great yet. We're definitely going for greatness. And it could be something simple. Maybe it's kind of like a song. Maybe it just needs one different instrument added in, or one different color, one different piece of information, you know. Maybe it needs certain pictures added in there, different designs, something. But it definitely has a potential. All right, so I'm just gonna say make the text let me see. Make the text white in dark mode where needed. Make the text white if the background is black. And make the text black if the background is white. Unless it is fully readable. Okay, so still trying to get that text updated to look a little bit cleaner. So far, light mode is all right, but yeah, this text is a little bit too bright. Definitely got a lot more details to add in so far, but you can see right here, it has pretty much so far, we got the history of hip hop layered in. You can check out the eras and it'll give you a lot of cool details and information about each era of hip hop. We also have the Spotify integration, so we can play music through here. We can also check out, yeah, so as light mode and dark mode. Once we get that font updated, it'll be a little bit nicer. But let me get back to that home page. Yeah, we still have that Spotify integration in here. Okay, so it looked like it moved that Spotify button. We have browse artists, so this should be able to work as the Spotify portion. Okay. Still got some updates coming in. I don't know. I think we can get this into something really cool. I really do. All right, so I'll simply add the color scheme to ensure maximum readability. Okay, cool. So let's see if it did actually get that updated. Still not getting that updated for us. All right, let's try it one more time on there. Copy that, paste that here. The font is still unreadable in dark mode. Okay. So yeah, once this gets updated, it'll be a lot nicer. And we need to let it know that the Spotify portion should be added back in. Definitely need some pictures added to these cards as well. This back button isn't functioning. It's got to point out all the different bugs that we can fix on this one. So, okay, nice. When we click that schedule, yeah, so these arrows aren't working yet. But when we click that schedule, it does give us a cool breakdown of the era of hip hop. So got old school hip hop, DJ centric performance, simple rap patterns over disco, party favorite lyricists, live performance emphasis. Okay. And it has some notable artists of that period of time. That's really cool. Each of these people should have their own pictures added in. Musical elements in here, cultural impact. Okay, that's cool. Iconic albums. Nice, nice, nice. These need album covers integrated. Technology. Okay, so it does have some decent information so far, though. This is cool for a portion of the site. We can add a lot more, though, but this is a decent portion so far. Okay, I can see the issue in dark mode. The text appears to still be very black instead of white. All right, cool. So hopefully it gets that problem fixed for us. Should be a simple problem. I'm not sure why. All right, so now it changed the dark mode. Okay, this is looking decent. We can add a black background to that, but for now, let's get this rolling with adding in more features. Man, so we gotta get this updated too. Explore errors, browse artists. Okay. So, man, this thing really messed up dark mode for us, but it's no big deal. Now we know next time we can add dark mode in, at the end instead of the beginning. Okay, error. Buttons are not showing up. All right, so to let it know the buttons aren't showing correctly. Looks like that is the last thing it needs to update for us. Let's get dark mode fully functional. Yeah, ironically, some of these things aren't necessarily easier with AI. Like manually adding dark mode to a website is pretty straightforward, but with AI, it's being pretty stubborn. We were able to add every artist, every rapper into this app already in less time it takes us to add dark mode. So it's funny. All right, cool. So explore era. So this should pretty much have a couple of big artists from that era up here in images, right? So got to get this design a lot cleaner, a lot sleeker. Adding more information seems like it's pretty straightforward. We can also just have it reference Wikipedia or link YouTube videos from different eras or different cool content that we can add in there. So it should be pretty easy to add more detail, but needed aesthetically a lot more pleasing. All right, so these buttons are looking better now. Nice. Okay. So let me see if I can click this background directly here, if it'll register that. All right, so click that background. Let me see if we can edit the color manually. Nope. Yeah, so the way that they added in this won't allow us to manually edit that coloring yet. So all we need to do is make the background black in dark mode. Okay. And I'm actually gonna note instead of white because it's white right here. I don't want it to change the gray, only the white portion instead of white. All right, cool. So it should be able to get that updated for us. Next thing we want to do, we want to add a couple of different pictures from different popular artists of that era. Okay. And I think it would be nice to add a game in here, like a who would win, right? Like you choose a rapper, or if you can give the program 2 different rappers and ask it who would win, it should be able to compare their Spotify and different things like that to see who will win. I think that would be really nice. Just trying to think of creative things that we can add to the app to make it a little bit more interesting. All right, so dark mode is clean now. It's clean now. It's looking pretty cool. Okay. Okay, so add back a separate page that has the Spotify rappers integrated, or not rappers necessarily, just hip hop artists, because it could be R&B as well. Integrated. All right, so I noted a separate page. Also add a main menu page that lets you go to the history portion or the Spotify portion. Yeah, so I like this page here so far. And now that we got that design, that'll carry on to every other page that we add in. So we don't have to worry about that anymore. But I will say that we don't want the hip hop history page to be the main page. This should be a sub page. And we already did have a really clean Spotify page added in, so we can just get that back in as well. And that should make this a lot more cool to use. And we also want to add in some more information here, like some pictures of rappers from the era, just to make it a little bit more interesting. You know, when you see these artists with these gold chains in front of a Mercedes-Benz or something like that, it'll definitely add a lot more value to the feeling instead of just seeing the words old school hip hop. Definitely going for the energy that we're putting out here, right? Like we don't want people to think old, that we want them to think classic. So it's all about how you frame it. All right, I'll create a main menu page. All right, so it looks like it's following through on that portion. You can get that added in right. The Spotify API is really, really nice. Looks like it has a lot of good information in here. Really, really cool. So, all right, main menu page, adding in Spotify. Cool. Still processing. Okay. Let's check out these pages so far, though. Uh, so we can see the cultural impact of each era as well. Okay. So the Southern hip hop emergence was 1996 through 2004. That's cool. All right. Notable artists: Outkast, Master P. All right. Musical elements: heavy bass and 808 drums, call and response chants, repetitive. Okay. Decentralized hip hop geography. Okay, that's really cool. This is actually some cool information. Like if you're someone who never knew about this genre of music, then this is something that can definitely get you inspired, right? You can explore more eras to get back to the same. Now we're in the streaming era. That's cool. This actually created names for the eras, or I'm not sure where it referenced them, but some decent information here so far. We can also link people's now that we have the Spotify integration, we can link different artists' music page, so it'll pretty much function like Spotify 2.0 for the most part. Add a lot more detail in here and things like that. So can definitely add that in. We can also link the YouTube videos for each artist so you can see their popular videos playing. And I also think it would be cool to add maybe beef. We add a beef portion, right? That's something I think would be really interesting. Add a beef portion to see the artists that have gone against each other and how that worked out, who won, and things like that. Maybe have the AI rank the artists on different factors like who's the best lyricist, who's the best at battling, things like that. All right, cool. So hip hop history. Okay. Let's see that main page. All right. So we got history, got Spotify artists, quick access, hip hop facts, browse music. All right. So when we click Spotify artists, browse artists, search hip hop artists. All right. Let me try typing in Taylor Swift. All right, cool. So it should only show us hip hop artists. And I noticed already that the font color that we're using here should be black. So let me see if I can manually get that updated. No, it's not letting me click it. Okay. Okay. So when we click the artist though, what are we getting back? Popularity 95%. That's interesting. All right. So this should be clickable like it was before. Okay. Yeah, this should be clickable like it was originally. Let's check it out on the full page too. Okay. So we got old school hip hop, golden age. Okay. This is still that library portion. So we got Spotify artists. All right. Yeah, so these should definitely be clickable. 100% should be clickable. And yeah, it looks nice though. Looks nice. It's interesting because they have them separated by popularity, right? Which is already, it's a little bit divisive, but that's something interesting. You know, it gives you a reason to go to the website. You may want to see who's the most popular artist, right? And this will show you the most popular artists currently. So, all right. Now, it's a couple of things that we can do, right? I want to make sure this back button works. So let's get that done first. The back button is not working. All right, so we can get that back button updated. I'm liking this app a lot more, actually. At first, I was kind of hesitant, I'm not going to lie, but now I'm liking it a lot more. That's why it's always good to just jump in and get things done, because you might find that you're a lot more interested in the subject than you thought you were originally, or you might just be able to use that information to go in a different direction. After these, since I've made these 8 apps so far, even during this process, I made a lot of apps in the past, but doing these 8 apps so consistently back to back has given me a lot of good information and a lot of good ideas and design choices. I've been able to test things a lot in real time and find out what works, what doesn't work, why things aren't there, why things should be there. A lot of different factors. It's just a great way to learn, honestly. It's almost like playing a sport when you're constantly playing basketball, you might take a jump shot that you didn't even expect that you would take at the time, and it just becomes more of muscle memory. So that's the power of using AI automation to vibe code. You can get into a lot more of a flow state and focus on getting things done. All right, so already noticed that button still is not functional. So I'm gonna just let it know that button is not functioning still. So let me go ahead and copy that. And also let me try that in another private browser just to verify. Always important to verify in a private browser if you're not seeing any changes show up, because your web page might be cached. All right, so yep, still not working. Okay. Go back here. All right, so I'm going to highlight this, make sure I catch the URL because it might have changed the button on a different page that I'm not aware of. Okay. The button is still not working. Okay. Okay. So I think it'll be interesting to have a beef portion, right? And what really determines whether an artist will win a beef? I would say lyrics, their popularity, their record sales, their audience size, but also their cultural impact is extremely important. Not sure how you would necessarily like note someone's cultural impact. I'm not sure how you would follow that, but if we can find out how to check the different data points for a beef, I would like to make this app be able to put two rappers against each other and decide who will win in a rap battle versus them, you know, just an arguing point, just something cool and different to add that other apps don't have. We can already add the integration of the music and everything like Spotify, and we got the classic hip hop portion. That's already cool. So just want to add in as much cool things to make our app unique, right? So these buttons still aren't clocking the way that they should. Yeah, it's still not working. So let's try that one more time. Okay. Button is not responding. Okay. I mean, let it know specifically that is an error. Cool. All right. Yeah, I'm not sure why I can't get that button to work, but it should be pretty quick. Hip hop facts. Let's check out this. Okay, so this has some really generic facts in here. We can definitely get this updated a lot more. It should be randomized. It should have at least 1,000 different hip hop facts in there. We need quotes, you know. We can definitely pull potentially maybe the top 1,000 most popular hip hop lyrics and have that be in a lyric generator where you could just press one button and see a really cool lyric and reference that song and get to a point where you could play that song from there. There's a lot of different features that we can add in. Right now, we already have that popularity log. Oh, it looks like that's still updating. All right, so if we click browse music though, right, shows us the artist. Okay, and we can still search like we tried beforehand. So that portion's still working. Man, it's so crazy, man. We can add all these artists in, but it's still struggling to add in that back button functionality. We click it. So it's not even a button. It's just a picture. There's no real button here. Spotify. All right, cool. Let me see. Implemented proper navigation. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't work on light mode or dark mode. That's interesting. Okay. All right. Hip hop history. Yeah, it's still not going back for either one. I'm gonna try it on my phone because it may work on the phone, and that might be the confusion. Nope, it's still not working at all. That's so interesting. Out of all the out of all of the issues we could have, it's just a button. So it's really weird. All right, cool. No big deal. The button is not responding. It is not clickable at all. All right. So let's see. And I know it's not a button because when we click this select tool, you can see for the other individual buttons, oh, it might have just been the way they designed it actually, because these two are clickable, but they don't show up the same way. Oh no, they're not actually clickable. They were. So, okay. So this design has changed something where for some reason, some of these buttons are like maybe a layer behind. Okay, so now, okay, it's working now. All right. All right, cool. So that was updated. It's still loading. You can see it still says working here, but it looks like it was already able to get that working for us. Let me load that back. All right, cool. So hip hop history, press back, main page, Spotify artists, search artists. So we want to add a hip hop filter to this because like I said, we don't need an all music website. We just want a hip hop website. There's already music websites for people to use. And that allows us more, we can make a country version, we can make a version for pop music, whatever. That just gives us more opportunities. And then we can integrate them all into one. So now you have a lot of variation between the different genres, make it more interesting to use. So let me just make sure everything is cool. Okay. All right, so that is working. Now, we're going to add another page for beef. Okay, so what I'm going to let it know is add another portion, add another page for hip hop beef that gives details on previous hip hop rap battles / beefs throughout history. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is go back to that main page, catch a screenshot so it knows what page we want to update. Okay, this is the page that we're updating. And yeah. And still got to think, how do we want the AI to know which artist will win in the rap battle, right? Because we want this AI to be able to predict rap battles for us too. That's one of the different factors that'll be really cool and set our app apart. So we can either put in metrics ourselves to say go off record sales, go off popularity, go off followers, things like that, or we could use the AI to actually use like ChatGPT or a different thinking program to actually just come up with its own decision in its own way. So do we want to set different rules for it to choose, or do we want it to choose on its own? We could also add a voting metric, right, where individual users can vote and it can just measure those votes. So it could even poll, right? We could even have it a situation where it's like it'll respond in 24 hours, but it'll make a Reddit account and ask people on Reddit, and maybe it can poll real-time information. So it's a lot of different abilities that we have on here. But let's get that first page generated first before we move on from there. All right, great. I can see the back button is now working. Cool. All right, so it looks like it's still caught up on that back button and it should be focusing on this, but now I'll create the hip hop beef page. Okay, cool. So it is creating that hip hop page. All right, let's check this out again really quick. So I really like how it designed these different eras of hip hop. I really like how this page looks in black, and it looks super nice on the phone, which is where most people will be using it. So it looks nice though. We definitely need pictures of artists, the Spotify page, or let me see, the browse music portion does have the artists showing up here in pictures, but I'm mad Hip Hop Harry made it on the list, but I guess it is what it is. But we can definitely have this look a lot cleaner. I want it to be more competitive. It had a popularity metric on here showing up before. I think that popularity metric was really cool, where it showed the different rankings of the artists based on quote unquote popularity. I'm not sure what makes an artist more or less popular, but it might just be off their monthly followers or something like that. All right, let's go back. All right, so now we have the hip hop beef. I like that. Time for the history. Headphones for the Spotify artists. Hip hop beefs got the fire next to it. Nice. All right, cool. So what beefs are they showing us here? Ice Cube versus NWA. All right, still loading. Okay, cool. It's looking decent so far. It's looking decent so far. All right, so Ice Cube versus NWA. East Coast versus West Coast. All right. I like how they have different images here for these two. Oh, they're kind of repeated. That's fine. That's fine. All right, Nas versus Jay-Z. I wonder what makes it get a fire. I wonder how it's picking these images. It seems like it might make sense, right? East Coast versus West Coast. That gets the exclamation mark. So it seems like it might be referencing something specifically. Kendrick's Control verse has a crown next to it. That's crazy. That's crazy. And it says resolved and unresolved. Wow. That's really interesting. East Coast versus West. What makes it unresolved, I'm wondering. All right. So we got the different artists in here. Each of these should be clickable already. I'm already thinking about how cool that would be to just be able to click Tupac and see. We need the songs related. Every song in the beef should be listed here, and it should give you a link so you can listen to the song. We already got Spotify in here. How did Machine Gun Kelly, out of all the beefs, Eminem and Machine Gun Kelly, I mean, I guess. All right, Nas and Jay-Z. Okay, it did a pretty good job. Okay, so these are different categories. So commercial, crew battles, lyrical. Okay, there's even different genres of beef that we can check out. Intensity. Okay, that's cool. That's really cool. So it ranks the intensity of the beef. Yeah, this is nice. All right, cool. So what we want to do is add in links. Like each one of these should link to the actual artist. So, all right, so error. Each of the boxes referencing an artist should link to their actual Spotify. That's the nice thing about Spotify. They have a lot of good information public, so we're able to just add that in. They do that because they want plays, right? So it helps them out a lot to make people able to integrate Spotify into their website, because you still would need to log into Spotify to use it. So it gives them more plays, but it gives us more functionality. So it's a win-win. It's looking nice so far, though. I'm liking this. I'm liking this a lot. Tried to be a little bit more creative today. We do things like movie apps and television apps are on the way, and we have crypto trading apps and stock market trading apps on the way, but just tried to make today a little bit outside of the box, see what we could come up with in a lane that's not really been tested as much. All right, so that works. Cool. Ice Cube, NWA, Eazy-E, Dr. Dre. Nice. Okay. So all right. Below key tracks, there should be a section that lists all the music related to the beef and links to play the music. All right, cool. So, just notice that right here, first thing, we definitely want this to be clickable. because it's 2025. We don't really need to just see the names of the songs and then search them up ourselves. If you're on this web page, you're probably interested in finding out how these went. And this is just really valuable because if someone's not necessarily familiar with hip hop, you might be new to the genre of music. You can just go to this one web page and get a good history lesson, you know, find all the music and check it out. Actually listen to it. And we have quotes. Definitely need more quotes in here. But we're going to have that lyric generator as well. That'll give us the best lyrics. It'll just have the highest ranked lyrics and it'll kind of be able to randomize them so you can always find cool, interesting lyrics. So anybody who's interested in that portion of music can also get what they're looking for. All right. Boom. So I don't really want this. I mean, I guess this is fine, I guess. All right. Let's see if we can embed that in here though. Like actually have just the play button right here. We don't need all this. All right. Instead of linking to instead of sending the user off the page, add a play button so the user can listen from the site, from this website. All right. You never want to send users off your page because when you send someone off of your website, they may not come back. What if they go listen to that Ice Cube song and then they go start listening to other Ice Cube songs? Now they're on Spotify and they're no longer on our website anymore. Then they can easily forget about the website and never go back to it. So always good to keep users on your webpage as long as possible because it builds a familiarity. All right, I can see the music collection already has play buttons, but they're linked to external Spotify instead of playing directly on the website. Cool. So it saw that problem. Hopefully we can get that updated. Not even 100% sure if it's able to do that. I've seen other sites do it, so I don't know why it wouldn't be able to. But let's see, preview not available. All right, let's see why. Enhance the music player experience with prominent in-browser controls. Okay. All right, error. I am seeing a preview not available alert. All right, so let me add quotes around that. Always good to just clarify as much as you can with the AI, let it know exactly what you're saying. Allows it to solve problems a little bit better. All right, and like every other problem, just let it know what the problem is verbally and with the image, and it should be able to get that updated for us, or at least let us know what the problem is. Okay, so looks like licensing just doesn't allow us to have that by searching for alternative tracks and providing better fallback options. Let's see. We may need to use that rollback button. So anytime you are working on an app with Replit and you get to a point where you don't like the direction it's going, or you had a working point, but you made a change and you don't like that change, or you didn't need it and you just want to go back pretty much, you can just press that rollback here button and it'll go back to a previous save point. Just like a video game, if you die and you have a save point, you can just go back to it without worrying about anything. All right, so let me see. So improve search now ties multiple search variations to find tracks with previews. Actively searches for tracks that have 30-second preview available. No, we don't need that. What I'm gonna do is add a section that presents music related to the beef with playable links. Okay. All right, so I'm going to roll back to this point before I asked it to add a play button. because we can already get to Spotify, right? So it's no real point in worrying about that if we if most of the music isn't going to be playable. But my motto is, if we can't get you what you need directly, it should be one button press away. So it's still one button press away. You can play the music one step away from when you get to the beef section. All right. So Ripperoo Ballstein. Okay. I'm not sure what this is. Yeah. Might want to verify that and make sure it's pulling in the right music. Cultural impact demonstrated the importance of lyrical skills. Okay. I like the breakdown that it's giving us though. It's pretty in depth. All right. And each one of these artists, it shows their monthly followers as well. 4, 3, 2, 1. Can I buzz? Ripper strikes back. Okay. So I'm gonna just manually even let it know this is not the right music. Okay. So error. This is not the correct song. Add in the correct song and verify all other portions of slash beefs or beef have the correct music. All right, so also let me just copy this portion to let it know exactly what we're seeing or what page we're using, right? And press enter on there. It should get that updated for us. But I mean, this is pretty decent so far, right? Have hip hop history, breaks down hip hop into different eras, each giving you a lot of good information on how that era impacted hip hop as a whole. It also has different facts, popular artists, landmark events, different albums that were really big during that era. We definitely need to get some pictures added in here for the different artists and album covers, things like that. We also have the browse music portion where we can find all of our favorite music. Right. So this is all working really nice. Takes you right to Spotify so you can go listen to the artist if you would like to. But we're definitely going to add that ranking system that we were talking about. And we have that beef, but we need a who would win section where we can compare two artists and we can let it know exactly who will win. I feel like that'll be cool. Hey, what's up? All right, so we can get things updated. All right, still reviewing that now. Okay. So enhance the beef details page with accurate Spotify music integration. Cool. Let's see if we got that updated. So these are right for that. Let's see. All right, cool. Still didn't update the music though. Not seeing that change so far. Pretty sure this is not the right song. Let me check YouTube. YouTube. No, actually, I don't want to manually search that because then we would potentially have to do that for every artist. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight that one more time and let it know that it didn't update correctly. But before that, let's double check. Oh, wait, let me see. Okay, so it did update. Okay. But this isn't related to the beef. So we get that updated. See, we could manually make changes, but we don't want to do that because we want it to be scalable, right? What if we add in 100 different beefs? We can also have the program automatically search for new hip hop problems. So when they happen, it can update the page in real time without us doing anything at all. But that only works if we're able to set it up correctly from the beginning. All right, so error. Make sure the songs listed are related to the beef. If they are not on Spotify, just leave them out. Don't replace them. Do not replace them with another. All right, cool. So we're letting the program know, don't just put a generic song in place. You feel me? Or we just want to make sure that it can update with the correct information every time. I like how I added that green here though. This is clean. And beef music collection. Okay. LL stands for lower level. That's why you're under me. Cool. Nice. They got lyrics related to the songs, everything. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. So now, honestly, they still have this here. All right. So I want to work on getting that automatic beef decider or whatever, where you should be able to put any artist in it, and it should let you know who would win in a rap battle between them. But we just gotta get this one thing fixed really quick. So error. And let me double check for other beefs. All right, so we have Infrared, Duppy Freestyle, Story added on. Okay. You are hiding a child. Let that boy come home. OVO 40 hunched over like he 80. Okay. Those are lyrics. Story added on. Okay. And that is showing up on here. Cool. All right. Who shot you? That's showing up on here. Okay. It's looking good so far. I'm just wondering why this one song isn't showing up correctly. I'm pretty sure they weren't having a rap battle over Crash Bandicoot soundtrack. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe I missed that one. But I don't think that's how it went. All right, this song should not be here. Should not be listed. All right, so at this point, I'm just letting it know that this specific song is not correct. I'm not seeing any other songs show up that shouldn't be here, like that one is. But let's see what it says back. It may let us know that the song has been updated, and it could be a browser issue. Maybe my browser isn't updating the way that it should be. So we can check on a different browser if it lets us know that, but just want to verify first because I'm not seeing any other problems, just that one song. And improve the track filtering to be much more. All right, so looks like it's being stubborn with this one specific song. I'm just gonna let it know, remove this song. Or actually, let's test that out on another browser really quick. Like I said, make sure it's just not cached locally. All right. Yeah, so it says the Ripper Strikes Back. This is not the right song. All right. I'm gonna just say remove that song. Manually remove. All right, so catch a screenshot of that, post that here. You highlight the actual title. All right. And I'm letting it know why it should be manually removed, because it is not the correct song of... I'm guessing it went on Spotify, typed in that song name, and this probably was the only thing that came up first. So it's trying to get that updated. I'm letting it know that that's not the correct song, and I'm typing in, or I'm putting in the actual titles, because I want it to be able to compare other things and verify those titles are matching correctly. I don't want to have to go through every single page myself. It should be able to update that automatically. All right. I'll fix the search query. Okay. To be more specific, excluding the video game track, let me update the search term and add more exclusive pattern. So it's just adding another layer of detail to the searching. Okay. All right, so now it's not showing any tracks show up here. Okay. So that can happen with the AI. I'm gonna try and get this updated one more time, and if it can't get updated now, we can just move on and work on other aspects and maybe go back to this later, if anything. All right, song is still not removed. I'll let it work on that, but time is money, so let's move on to more priorities. Okay. So for this, it says search hip hop artists, but if we type in Britney Spears, okay, that comes up. We also got to make sure that the font is black. The text should be black for this, right? It's not showing up at all. So we got to make sure it knows that the text turns white when it goes to dark mode in this area. Yeah, it still didn't update that. Whatever. It's not that big of a deal. All right. So let it know text is all right. The updated. Okay. Error. The text in the search bar is white during dark mode. Make it black. All right. So just manually letting it know, update that text. I'm liking how this looks, but like I said, we need to make sure that this only shows hip hop artists because it's a hip hop app, not just a Spotify app. But it's nice having that Spotify integration in there and everything. Hip hop facts, we can get this updated with a lot more information. But I do want to add that who would win the battle, or maybe call it battle, rap battle, something like that. Just call it rap battle pretty much. Yeah, just to have it be understood. Just another page where you can ask who would win between two different artists, put them against each other. It should rank their album sales and everything like that and see who will win, maybe their lyrical ability. All right, fix the search input. Okay, so should have changed that for us. Okay, so that's fine. Definitely want that background to be black in there though. So let me see if we can just manually add that in. Background color, okay, nice. So this is one of the portions where we can just manually change it. As always. Oh, failed to update by class name. Please update this element with the following changes. Okay. So when we click that select tool, it just lets us click portions of the page, and depending on how that page section was designed, we're usually able to manually make those changes. But it looks like for some reason the AI fought against that. So let's see if we can get that done now. Failed to update. Okay, that's interesting. A select tool is a good thing to try. Usually it can save you a couple minutes and save you some gas on Replit, but a good other way we can do it, just say error, change the background of this text box to black in dark mode. And also just let it know, keep it the same in light mode. Cool. So should be able to get that updated pretty quick. So just a couple things we need to change. We need to make the Spotify artist search page only show hip hop artists. We need the hip hop history section. We want to add in some pictures of the different artists and things like that in there. But right now, okay, so that's good. All right, cool. That's clean. So now what we're going to do is add that hip hop beef page. I want to see who will win in these rap battles. Okay, perfect. Updated that search. Okay, cool. So add a portion to the home page for rap battles. This should allow the user to put in 2 rappers and let the website tell the user who would win in a battle. This should be determined by album sales, awards, album sales, awards, popularity, and I'll just say Twitter, IG, YouTube, Spotify, listeners / followers, just giving a lot of data points and everything to check out, and lyrical ability. All right, and now I'm going to tell it to create a formula to determine the rapper that would win and give a percentage of odds. All right, cool. So now, like I said, we're adding in a portion of the website where the AI for the website will tell us who will win in a rap battle. So it should just be able to check out how much followers they have, how much plaques they have, how much records they sold, popularity. You know, you can check out their Twitter followers, their YouTube followers, check out everything, and it'll tell us who would win in a battle. He said Kendrick beating Drake. Yeah, I feel like Kendrick won. I mean, once you hit the Super Bowl, you know, it's pretty, you got it locked in. But yeah, I think it'll be cool to check out. You know, a lot of people have arguments all the time about who will win in a rap battle. So I feel like this is a great way to find out. And it's just an arguing point, really. It's really just about putting in that name and showing your friend like, hey, I told you he would win. You know, it's kind of like a little bit proof. All right, cool. So I'll create a rap battle feature for the homepage that compares 2 rappers using real data from multiple sources. Let me build this comprehensive battle system with authentic metrics. Cool. So it looks like it's able to get that working for us pretty soon. Yeah, it's cool. It's the power of AI though, really. It's like all you need is an idea. You can pretty much do anything. All this made in like less than 2 hours. All right, so I like how they have Kendrick and the Control verse in here by itself. Oh, we still got to get these songs updated. I like how Kendrick's Control verse was so good that they just put it in its own category. It's just him verse the entire rest of hip hop. All right, let's check out the Drake and Pusha T section though. Infrared, so it's nice. It gives you songs to check out. There's always more detail that we can add, but for 2 hours, this is pretty nice. It's pretty nice. They don't have Kendrick and Drake on here yet though, so we can definitely have it update. We can even give it a number. We can just tell it to add like 50 different rap beefs and it can just narrow that down for us or something like that. But yeah, we can see it's updating all these different files and everything and giving us that updated information. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. Reloading. Let's see what we get. All right. Rap battle simulator. All right. So what are we doing? What are we doing here? Anybody have any rappers that they want to see who will win in the battle? I'm not sure who we should go with right now. All right, let's say Jid and Kendrick Lamar. All right. I know people have been talking about that. Let's see what we get back. Data not available for Jid. Okay, so it has a couple of rappers in here right now. So it looks like we might need to let it know that we need to add more rappers in. Okay, so let's see Jay-Z versus Nas. Jay-Z wins. I feel like I don't know about Jay-Z beating Nas, man. But let's see how it found that information, right? So album sales, Nas won. Winner, popularity, Jay-Z. Winner, Nas for awards. Lyrical ability, Nas has that. Okay. Longevity, Nas. And cultural impact has Jay-Z on here. Okay. Feel like Nas might beat Jay-Z in a rap battle. I don't know. Got a feeling he might be able to win that one. So let's see though. Let's see though. All right. So add in 1,000 of the top rappers to the list. All right, cool. So it has what, like 5 rappers in here now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It has 5 rappers in here now. We can just go ahead and boost that up to 1,000. It said do JID with no periods. Let's try JID with no periods. All right. Data not available. Yeah. Yeah, it seems like it just manually added a couple of people in here. But I like the setup though. I like how it's at the bottom of the page, right? So you don't even have to go anywhere else to check it out. You can just see everything on one page. That's really cool. You can still do that browse music portion and everything like that. So it has a lot of functionality. It shouldn't just be, you know, like we need a lot of different reasons for people to check out the page. All right, I'll add a comprehensive database of top rappers. All right, so now it looks like it is kind of like streamlining how that process works. So you can see right here, it says instead of, what does it say? All right, comprehensive database of rappers. Since manually creating 1,000 entries would be impractical. So it's basically saying there's no reason to really add everything manually. Let's just go ahead and do everything with some type of platform. So I guess it's going to have an algorithm that we can use and build that into the website for us. But let's see who else we got. J. Cole versus... Oh, all right. So they got decent people now. All right. So I think this should be kind of like a fighting game, right? Where it's like choose your rapper or something like that. Like a Mortal Kombat type of thing. Let's see J. Cole and A$AP Rocky. Let's see who we got. J. Cole wins. All right, 64% to 36%. Cool, cool, cool. So this is giving us odds based on data, right? Same odds that we can use for fighting odds for boxing or UFC. Same odds we can use for basketball. So this is a way that we can predict the outcome of situations, right? So it's a cool way to do it, but we can use this for a lot of things. I'm definitely going to use this for the crypto app that we're building and the UFC gambling app that we're setting up later. So longevity, all right, lyrical ability, cultural impact. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. All right, 28 more. Cool. So that's a little bit shorter. We don't want all the rappers listed right here, right? Still loading though. So far it's pretty nice. Wu-Tang Clan. All right, cool. Wu-Tang Clan and Tribe Called Quest. Oh, no. What we're going to do is Wu-Tang Clan versus Travis Scott. I'm not sure who's winning between Wu-Tang and Travis Scott, honestly. Oh, it's still loading. All right, still loading. Still loading. Okay. Know what's a good one? Pusha T and Travis Scott. Pusha T and Travis Scott. Let's see who wins here. See if it has him in there. Data not available for Pusha T. All right, we can add him in there though. All right, so let's just see. I don't know. Wu-Tang Clan versus Travis Scott. Let's check that out now. All right, Travis Scott wins 55% to 45%. All right, it was close. At least it was close. All right, so awards, cultural impact, lyrical ability. And it's close enough, you know, where it was anybody's game. It was anybody's game there for sure. So battle formula, album sales, popularity, awards, longevity, lyrical ability, and cultural impact. Okay, that's nice. I feel like cultural impact should be a little bit heavier, but that's what we got. Okay, so supports 100 plus aliases. That's cool. So we can use nicknames for the artists. Okay. So definitely want to say add in Pusha T and the best selling, and make sure the best selling hip hop artists of the last let me see, and make sure the best selling hip hop artists of the last 20 years, top 100 are all included. All right, so this is just a good way to make sure it catches all the popular artists in there. So most people will search for one of the top 100 best-selling artists of the last 20 years. So just a cool way to make sure that it's able to find all the artists that we would want. I'm not sure why Pusha T isn't in here, though. That's pretty interesting, but let's try that one more time. Pusha T, Travis Scott, start battle. Okay. Yeah, he's still not in here. I guess he didn't make the cut. I'm not sure. But this is going pretty well so far. I like that. I like that. That's a pretty interesting thing to add to the site. So now we have the artists. We want to make sure this is only hip hop artists searching in here. Still have that searchability. It's pretty clean too. Oh yeah, so that popularity does show up. All right, nice. So this is another way we can compare artists, right? We have that popularity meter. So you can see who's the most popular artist, and it's just a great way to check that out too. I'm not sure how it finds that out. It's probably checking their followers and how much plays they get or things like that, but Wu-Tang definitely a generational thing. Yeah, yeah, for sure. So I can see them. I mean, 45, 55, I'm not gonna lie. I agree with that percentage. I think it's pretty nice. Pretty accurate. But yeah, I just think it's a lot more ways we can clean this up. Definitely only want hip hop artists showing up in here. Hip Hop Harry, a classic. We definitely need him. He might get his own page. Kodak Black. All right, cool. So it's showing us what we need to see so far. It's looking pretty nice so far. All right. Adding Pusha T to the database to include top 100 best-selling hip-hop artists. Okay, cool. So it's going. I mean, a couple minutes over 2 hours, and we have a full fleshed out app so far. So just got to keep letting people know, like, this platform is really powerful, and it's just a great way for people to just make programs. Like, we made this in 2 hours. We got a full functional app right here. Like, could sell this, could host it ourselves and put some ads in here, like, it's pretty easy. Also, I'm giving away all of these apps at the end of the 30-day challenge. So if anybody wants to use these apps and turn them into whatever they want, or just use it, it'll work by itself. So we're building 30 of them. We made a movie app so far, anime app, a lot of different apps. Like, we had a Clout Wars where all the influencers were battling against each other. Card game looking like Yu-Gi-Oh style. So we added a lot so far. It's day 8, so we've been making a ton of progress. Yeah, all right, so looks like it added the new artists. Just want to make sure that they actually were added. T versus Travis Scott, right? Yeah. So it's still saying he's not in here. Yeah, I mean, looks like they're not catching it. Okay. So let me try other artists that are not listed. So 21 Savage, right? 21 Savage versus Lil Baby. You say, okay, cool. 21 Savage, Lil Baby. All right, let's see if they show up in here. All right, Lil Baby wins 52% to 48%. So a lot of these are really close. So let's see the categories though. Album sales, Lil Baby. Popularity, Lil Baby. Awards, cultural impact. Dang, Lil Baby took everything. Lyrical ability was tied though. I don't know about this, but I mean, I guess I guess. I mean, they're both not really lyricists, right? Like, so I don't know. I can see that kind of making sense. All right. So let's let it know that Pusha T isn't showing up because there might be a lot of artists they're adding in that aren't working yet. So let me just note that in here. Okay. So like with every other error, all we gotta do, take a screenshot, post that in here, say error, Pusha T is still not searchable for rap battles. Okay, cool. So should be pretty easy for that to get fixed or yeah, it should be pretty easy for that to get fixed, or at least they can let us know what the problem is. Also, we might need to reset the server. We might need to try on a different browser. There's a lot of different factors that we always need to double check when we're making these websites, right? So just because we don't have to code, like we can build a website with no code at all, but you just still need to understand like the basics to making a website, or just common sense, really. Like, if you have a problem with your website, just try a different browser, you know? All right, Pusha T should be searchable now. Let's see. All right, still loading. Still loading. So we should actually add a battle tested metric. There's a lot of different things we can add though. It's a lot of things we can add. Pusha T. Say Pusha versus Kanye. He said Pusha T isn't showing up because Drake killed him off. So that's crazy. Or Drake build him off. It's crazy. Hey, oh, he's showing up here now. All right, Kanye wins. Kanye wins. All right, maybe we should add a battle tested metric in here, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Kanye won just because he probably would just have somebody else write it, right? Like something like that. All right, cool. So we got album sales, popularity, awards. Okay, cool. I like this so far though. This is pretty nice. And we have a random battle, new battle. Okay, let's check out a random battle. Eminem versus Biggie. Let's check one more really quick. We can keep adding on here. So another thing that'd be cool, let's have the artist picture show up, right? When they battle, the result, it should show a picture of the artist. A competitive battle with slight edge and winning based on cumulative advantage. I can see that. I can see that. These are not too far off. These are not too far off so far. But now we just need to make this look cleaner. For now, let me just error, show an image of the winner in this portion after the battle is over. All right, cool. So let's get that updated. But yeah, just think about that. If you're even like for betting, right? Like if you're betting on sports or something, you can just ask it to make you a website that can tell you who's probably going to win. And you can watch a sports game and say, hey, when I'm watching basketball, I think about who got injured. Or when I watch basketball, I think about who they're playing against and how their defense, whatever factors you want to add in there, you can note that in the website and you can build a program that'll think like you, right? And if you're really good at guessing the odds or results of things like that, then you could sell that and someone else can use that and you can make money off of it. So it's a lot of different ways we can make money with these programs. That's why I'm just trying to break this stuff down, because it's only $25 to use this a month, and then you can actually build it for free to start off with. So, all right, so add winner display metric. All right, cool. Let's see if it shows that picture. Not showing the picture yet. I know they have the pictures because they show up on the Spotify list. So let me just let it know. Pull the pictures from Spotify. Error. The pictures are not showing. Pull the pictures from Spotify. API. Spotify API. That's how we have all this information showing up so far. Everything is being pulled from Spotify and it's free. All you gotta do is just make an account and copy basically your username and password from Spotify over, and it'll add all that information for you guys. Let me see. Okay. So I'll integrate the Spotify API to fetch real artist images from the battle results. Let me modify the component to fetch artist images from Spotify when displaying the winner. Cool. Okay, considering options, optimizing agent memory, just loading that up. All right, let's check out another section so far though. All right, so let's check out this artist section. When we search an artist, all right, we only want rappers to show up here. These could be, I like the design of this though. It's sleek, it's clean, but oh, these should be they were clickable. Let me see. Okay. I'll integrate the Spotify API, fetch real artist images for battle results. Let me modify the components to fetch artist images from Spotify when displaying a winner. Cool. So it looks like it's getting what we're trying to do. And let's do a quick battle really quick again. Kanye versus Nicki Minaj. All right, cool. Now they have the picture showing up correctly like they should. It will be extremely close. All right, nice. I'm liking this so far, though. It's going really well. All right, so after, let's make sure Spotify only searches for hip-hop artists, right? So right now we got the hip-hop history section where it breaks down the different eras of hip-hop and cool information in there. We got the Spotify section where you can search your favorite artists in here and you can play their music. You can check how popular they are. You could compare. We also got the rap battle in here where the artist can really battle and it'll tell you the odds of whatever artist beating the other artist. So let's make sure the search only shows hip hop artists. So only hip hop artists. Yeah. All right. So it's loading that up right now. Let's have another battle. Any artists you guys want to battle? Let's check out random. Jid. All right, now we got Jid back in here. Jid versus Biggie. Who's winning? Biggie. All right, I can see that. 71% though. That's pretty crazy. All right, awards. Yeah, he got it locked from the awards, cultural impact, lyric ability, popularity, album sales. All right, that's cool. Makes sense. But having a picture show up is nice too, though. It's cool. We could even have the pictures actually link to their Spotify, so you could just play the artist from there. We could definitely do that. This isn't Youngboy. Some of the pictures might need to be updated. Let me check. All right. I mean, it seemed like only Youngboy image was messed up. All right. So. All right. All right, some of these images aren't right. We can get that updated though. All right, added the hip hop genre filter to Spotify. Hip hop only. All right, cool. So it says it made those changes we were looking for. Let's check out that Spotify section. All right, so let's check out Travis. Cool. Still showing non-hip hop artists. Cool. But obviously now the program knows what we're trying to do. So I can just catch that screenshot again. Error. It's still showing other artists. Other non-hip hop artists. All right, cool. So that should be able to update for us pretty quick. I can see the issue. Search is showing non-hip hop artists. All right, cool. So it even pointed out the actual artists that are not supposed to be there. And it's just going to tighten up the filter. Might take a couple of run-throughs of that to get it perfect, but it's going cool so far. It's working out cool so far. All right. Back to menu. All right. So let's let that load. All right, cool. So you can see it's still loading, considering the options. All right. So looks like it's good. Looks like it should be good. Let's check it out. All right. Travis Scott. Still showing the same people in here. All right. So, like I said before, always want to double check on a different browser just to make sure it's not caching that information or something like that. Might be pre-saved because we are pulling all this information from Spotify, right? So it might just be trying to save internet. Yeah, no, it's still showing both of them. All right, cool. So just let it know. Need to update that. Still showing the same result. Separate by genre. Separate. Oh, no, actually, let me just leave it. Still showing all the results. So see if we can get updated. It always takes a little. I mean, we don't have to code at all, right? So it's still super convenient, but sometimes you just got to work with it a little bit. Let it know it's not going in the perfect direction yet. All right, cool. The changes may not be taking effect due to browser caching. Let me check what's actually happening. So yeah, it's even thinking the same thing I said. Thinks the browser might be saving things locally, but it's not though, because we tried on different browsers. If you're ever wondering, just check on a private browser. All right, let me check the server logs more carefully to add some debugging, see what's happening with the filtering. Okay. So, all right, so adding debugging and caching, busting to fix hip hop filtering. Cool. So it looks like it's just trying to find ways to make sure the page doesn't save the wrong information. But it's still not updating though, like I said. All right, so I'm gonna just let it know the problem is not cache. Problem is not cache. It's not saved info. Change how you're trying to fix it. All right, so I'm basically just letting it know, try a different way. Like what you're trying is not right. Go in a different direction when you're trying to fix this. Because it can just keep trying the same thing over and over again if you don't keep paying attention and trying to get things fixed. And every change you make costs money. It's pretty cheap though. It's only like 25 cents, less than that, really. But if you keep making changes, right, if it keeps going in the same direction over and over again, that's just more money you're spending. So it's always good to save money when you're working on these because you don't know where you're going to run into problems or anything. I mean, it's always good to save money in general, right? So still showing the same problem. All right. Limit the search to only genres related to hip hop. The results are the same. All right, so let's try one more time, get that resolved. Again, I mean, what it's been like, it's been less than 2.5 hours, and we already have a fully functional site, really. Got the dark mode in here, everything like that. These different eras of hip hop, like it actually has really valuable information too. Like for the golden era, gives you a cool breakdown, hip hop creative and artist peak, featuring complex lyricism, innovative production, and diverse artistic expression from conscious rap to hardcore style. So it's a really detailed breakdown here. Actually lists the correct popular artists from that era of music, gives you why this music was popular, complex rhythms, concept albums, live instrumentation, integration. So really, really get specific with this detail here. Like if you actually wanted to learn about hip hop, this is something you could really use to get some great information. And from here, and always have to use dark mode for everything. That's why it was the first thing we added. So we already saw the hip hop history. We have that Spotify artist section where you can search for the real artists. We have that rap battle simulator down here, all on the same page. We don't even need to leave. And then we have those beefs where it breaks down those hip hop beefs. I feel like it's a good amount to be added to a website for less than 2.5 hours. All right, so it's still trying to find a way to get that search result set up correctly. You can see it's saying it's pointing out the genres, right? So it looks like it might have just been going in the wrong direction. But yeah, I'm letting it know specifically search hip hop genres. So, and it's referencing the API. So it should be able to get an update for us. All right, let's check out the results. All right. No artist found. Nope, not finding anyone now. All right. So it looks like the search results a little bit too strict this time. So just let it know. Error, no results found. All right, cool. While we wait for that, let's check out another rap battle. Kid Cudi versus Drake. Drake wins. Jeez. So yeah, we gotta let it know all of these pictures are not being updated correctly. It has all the pictures in the system. We just gotta let it know to get that fixed. Oh, that might be because we're still updating the app. So it still didn't change. Refresh that page. Okay. Let me see what it gave us though. Okay. So looks like it was just a little bit too strict. All right, cool. So now it's showing us rappers, right? So when I type in Kendrick, I shouldn't see Anna Kendrick. I should see Kendrick Lamar. All right, Kendrick, Ken Carson, nice. And you can see this search is really fast too, right? Like, it's like almost instant. It's cool. For one day, one setting, it's a pretty clean app, right? So now we can just, we can clean things up, add a little bit more images in here, references and things like that. But I mean, honestly, for right now, I feel like we should just wrap this up realistically. We got a ton of work done. We're doing a new app every day for 30 days. And it's all pretty much random. I don't know what app we're doing tomorrow. We have everything built into its own app. So each day we find out what we're doing and we create that in real time for you guys. And yeah, so appreciate you guys watching. If you enjoyed the content, let me get a like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. But yeah, outside of that, my name is Adrian with Military Grade Automation, and you guys have a great day. Peace.
Mm-hmm.